All right, we're back with Approaching the Green, week 17. I don't know what week it is. I just threw that in. It's August 17th, and we are heading to beautiful northern New Jersey, which I've read some quotes about this course from various golfers. Nothing really good to say about this course. A couple people said the view is nice. Like you can see if you're watching here the picture, you can see the city. You can see across the water to the city, but you are in New Jersey. This was built on a landfill. This is not where they played last year. They have played here this course before, but it has been 2 years, I think. I'm gonna have to check that. I have it
Two
definitely
years,
in my notes. So
2019.
yeah, Pam, what do you got on Liberty National as we start the playoffs today with the
Well,
par
it is a
par
playoffs.
four?
And so for those who are unfamiliar, it is the first leg of the playoffs with the FedEx Cup playoffs, which starts this week at the Northern Trust in Jersey City, Jersey. It is on the line. There's a lot of money. And this is when we say that this is the first part of the playoffs. The top 70, 125 players are in the field this week. The top 70 are going to be eligible to play in the BMW Championship next week, followed by the Tour Championship 2 weeks from now. So the course itself, it is Liberty National Golf Club. It is a par 71. It is over 7,400 yards. Bent grass fairways and bent grass greens. I do like that because it's a little bit more challenging. Patrick Reed, he holds the 72 hold record at this course back in 2019. He shot 16 under. The 18 hole record for this course was a 62 in 2013 and then again a 62 in 2019, shot by Kevin Chappell and Troy Merritt. About the course, there's a lot of holes. A lot of the holes have water come into play off the tee and on the approach shot. There's bunkers everywhere, so you're going to want somebody who's a little bit consistent, or it helps if you can hit the ball long. There's a couple of three par fives. Two of them, I would say maybe three are reachable. So you also want
Oh
somebody who
yeah.
has good par five scoring. And then there's three par threes that are about 200 yards. But the fairways are pretty wide. It can be a less than driver course if you choose, but a lot of players who have done well here hit the ball accurate. They have a good iron shot.
Yeah, and you can see I took my 3 wood out on the first hole there. Like there's some goofy holes where there's gonna be some water in play where you like even if you hit it 350, I'm not sure you're clearing those bunkers. Ton of bunkers, water comes into play a few different times. Like I said earlier, and you confirmed that I believe it was 2 years ago, and Patrick Reed won on this course. They kind of moved this around the New York, New Jersey, Boston area. It was TPC Boston last year. Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, apparently DJ was very comfortable on that course because he won that by like 10, 11 strokes, I think it was. A lot closer in the last few iterations of it at this course. Obviously, with Reed winning it 2 years ago just by one stroke over Mr. Answer, I believe. First time winner, Mr. Answer, on the season. But yeah, this is, again, I think you nailed a lot of it. It almost does look a little bit like a links course just because they don't have any trees. Like there's some, but it is kind of wide open if you've seen, what I've been doing here so far. And I think some people who've played well on links courses, people who can find these fairways and have this, accurate second shots, are going to do just fine. And like Pam said, everybody's here. Louis not here. Louis taking the week off because his ranking's high
Louis.
enough. Otherwise,
He
it
didn't want to
is
be a bridesmaid.
everybody. Yeah, he did. Just like, why would I come here and finish second? I'm already into the final, so he will play next week at the BMW. He's confirmed that, but no Louis. Otherwise, everybody else is in here, and we'll start with your outright. Who wins it? Pam.
I'm going to go with John Rahm at plus 1,000. It is 10 to 1. He is the favorite. It's not the best odds, but he is the best player in the world, and he absolutely excels on bent grass greens. He has a 17th place finish, a second to seven, a fifth. Can he win? If there was any one player for me to trust in a 6-player playoff just in case, then I would put my trust in Rahm. But he's coming off, a fantastic 2021. What can you say about him? He took fifth at the Masters. He has eighth at the PGA Championship, and then he took first at the U.S. Open. So the big tournaments, he definitely shows up for. But more importantly, he has gained strokes in every single category in 4 tournaments straight. He's John Rahm, and plus
He's John Rahm
1,000.
is the best way to put it. Yeah. mean,
He's John
he's
around.
the best golfer in the world right now. Some places you can still find some tens, but there are some sharp books that have him down well below this at this point. He's taking some money. He's very good, and yeah, the motivation. Even though the big money is in the final, there's still some decent purses in these lead up events too. So the motivation is there even for the guys who are already into the final to win this one. I went a little further down the board. Actually, I have a few guys. Morikawa is one of my favorites this week, but I did want to talk a little Patrick Cantlay because I don't think he was on my initial card when I talked about it on Brown Bag earlier in this week. Cantlay 28, some places up to 33 to 1. He won Memorial. He's playing just as well as some other guys that are around his price range. Oh my god, I think I just holed out there. Oh my
I
god,
may have to change.
our hole in one bet is
I was
not
just gonna
great.
say.
I just hit a hole in one there. Eights.
Flip the
Anyway,
script.
yeah, he's playing well enough to compete even in a field like this. JT, DJ, Xander, guys like him who are, near or below his price range, similar metrics to him. So I'm not worried about taking somebody a little further down the board when I think he should be up in that 20 to 1 range. Whale's asking if that's my first ace. I think that's my first ace actually on the show. I actually have a hole in one on a par 4 while just playing this game, goofing around. Took a weirdest bounce off the lip of a bunker and just slow rolled in. I was using like a 5-wood and I hit a hole in one. It was a really goofy shot, but yeah, first ace on the show. I think that means Cantlay wins. So Patrick Cantlay, yeah, 28 to 1. You could hunt around maybe even a 30, 33 to 1. I don't like him. I don't like his face. I don't like his demeanor, but I just don't. I will bet on this guy. So
Fade his face.
yeah, fade his face. So, yeah, I don't want to be looking at him. I won't watch this. I'll just hope for the best. Long shots were a bit ticklish this week. I got a little scared off of this, but you have this goofy bastard.
Cameron Smith. Plus 4,500. If you want to talk about goofy, yeah, let's go with Cam Smith at plus 4,500. He does really well on bent grass greens, and he's not somebody who's known for off the tee or his iron shot, but he is a fantastic short game player. He's one of the best putters on the tour, and he gains strokes in every tournament that he plays, and especially on bent grass. So he's also coming into this with some really good form. In his last 3 tournaments, he has improved in each of his tournaments. He took 33rd at the Open. He took 10th at the in Tokyo, and then he followed that up with a 5th place finish at the WGC St. Jude Invitational just last week. And in that tournament, he did gain strokes. Even though it was a small, he gained a little bit of strokes off the tee, stayed pretty neutral with his iron shots, and of course gained putting. So if there's any short gamer that I was going to take, then it's going to be Cam Smith at plus 4,500. It's worth a little sprinkle.
Yeah, I like me some Cam Smith. He's maybe my favorite of the cams now that I'm off Tringali. And there are a lot of cams on tour. But Cameron Smith, somewhere in the 4,500 range. I couldn't do it on any. I guess I do have some English and Casey around 40. But there were some guys further down the board, and in a field like this, I couldn't pull the trigger on like 100 to 1 people. Even like 80 to 1, it's like, man, there's just too many big names. This is too tough for me to do here. I did end up with Charlie Hoffman, though. Charlie Hoffman, another one. Like I just said, I can't bet this guy to win this outright. Love him to death. But top 20, 5 to 1. I found a 5 to 1 on this. I could play that. Like, definitely a look for him to play top 20. And when I kind of broke down his game a little today, and I found a weird comp, and I don't know, maybe people are going to hate this comp, but he's just old, fat Victor Hovland. Like, when I looked at it, I felt kind of bad, like, looking at it. And I love Victor Hovland. But, yeah, I wrote it down here. Top-notch ball striking. Horrible around the green, like his approach or around the green, chipping, sand saves, anything getting up and down, not that great. Meh putter, and he actually drives it quite a bit further than Victor on average. So I'm fine with taking old Victor Hovland here and getting him a top 20 price at 5 to 1. I'm pretty sure this is kind of a boomer bust pick. Like he either doesn't make the cut or he does compete. Seems like he has a little bit of that in him, but he should play well on just on my like course fit model. I think he should play fine here. So 5 to 1, and I've hit a couple of these longer top 20s this year. These are a lot more fun when they're competing. I had Brian Stewart at a pretty big price last week.
Yeah.
matchups might have been the only thing I won last week, and you have a couple of big ass names here in the hierarchy one.
I'm gonna go with Xander Schauffele minus 120 over Bryson DeChambeau. These greens, these fairways, they are pretty wide, so DeChambeau should be able to have his way. However, just I think Xander has been like the better bent grass player. And if you look at the tournaments that he has played on bent grass, I mean, he does really well. He has top finishes. He is coming off that finish where he took first in Tokyo, and so maybe that could be a bit of a concern because how players perform after getting a win isn't always the best indicator for how they're going to perform in the next tournament after. However, it is Xander Schauffele and his numbers. He's just statistically better than Bryson as of late. In his last, I'm looking at the real short term. So if you're looking
Yeah.
at the last 24 to 48 rounds, Xander has been more consistent. He's had more top 20 finishes, more top 10 finishes, and of course the win gives him a bit of a boost. But he also excels more on bent grass surfaces. So I'm going to give him the nod over here at a small one minus 120 price over Bryson.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of Bryson. Honestly, anytime anymore. Like, the guy doesn't make sense. I think he's being too hard on himself. He might have broke his brain a little at this point. Like, Bryson stuff, yeah, he's a bomber, but I did not look at backing him at all in this tournament. I'm not sure about him going forward, really. He needs a good hard reset going into next year. Patrick Reed was somebody who was opened up at 60 to 1 today at some places. I bet that. Like, Patrick Reed won here 2 years ago. Patrick Reed is a major champion. Patrick Reed has pretty close to 10 tour titles. I'm going to have to double check that. At least 9. And I'm fine fading Webb Simpson at this price. I'm getting an underdog price on Patrick Reed here at plus 117. I mean, I let it be known how I felt about Webb Simpson and some of his stats leading into last week. I don't really buy his form right now. And, Patrick Reed, I've bet him on courses that I deem to be tougher. Like, yeah, he's a grinder. He can find his way around a tough course. I don't know if I consider this a really tough course, but he has had success here in the past. And he likes money. Like, he definitely, like, you are gonna, like, what do you think DJ does well at these? Like, DJ wants to cash in on these big paychecks here. If he's gonna play well anywhere, obviously we saw what DJ did last year. So Patrick Reed, motivation, the skill set, the plus money price, and getting him against Webb Simpson, who I'm not like looking to fade him hard, but I'm probably fine playing against Webb Simpson in a few matchups this week. I don't know if I wrote anything. I wrote down that I'm ready to puke from the Webb Simpson lug. I don't know if that's 100% true. Like, I support all these golfers on the tour. Was that a birdie putt? Oh, that was an eagle putt. I've had a couple eagle putts that have not fallen. This is not like real life. But
scores are going to be low this week.
yeah, we didn't really touch on that super hard off the beginning, but average score in the last 3 iterations, the winner was 15-ish, minus 15, somewhere like that. So you are going to see pretty close to, so at least 10, depends on the weather here. Down the board. Oh, my guy.
I'm going to roll with Harris English, somebody that we've been fading, but I'm actually going to be support of this week. It is going to be Harris English, minus 135 over Adam Scott. Yes, Adam Scott did just get a runner-up last week at the Wyndham Championship, but Harris English, that's his first. If you actually look at his record for Adam Scott, that was his first time that he has gained strokes in every single category in over a year. So it was I'm going to count it as kind of a bit of a fluke. Maybe he's trying to get back on that train of a little bit more consistency. But if you can believe it or not, it is Harris English who has been more consistent. He had a really turbulent few months there at the beginning of the year. He had a few miscuts, but he's been on an upward trajectory. He has 5 top 20 finishes in his last 7 events played since May, and 3 of those were within the top 5. So he has gained strokes in every category in 4 of his last 5 tournaments. We don't have any data for the Open Championship, but he did well there, including a win in the Travelers Championship. So he took second place. Scott took second place last week, but like I said, that was the first time that he's done exceptionally well for a really long time. So I'm going to bank on English being the more consistent player here at this course.
Yeah, I like him. I'm back and forth on him. We did fade him a little, and I'm back. I bet him at 40 to 1 this week. Multi-winner on the tour this year. Like, he has multiple wins. He won the Tournament of Champions as well. He had another tournament that he probably should have won. I'm not complaining about how that one went, but I mean, he had a little bit of a melt there. I like him a lot here. And yes, Drew's right. I'm on fire. I've had a nice little stretch here. I missed some putts at the beginning. We are at the turn. As I teased last week, we do have a official DFS sponsor now. I'm going to throw that up and show you. Look at that. There's a little beer cart. It's just like real golf. You get the beer card. There's nobody driving it. Usually there's a girl that's always trying to get you to buy more beers, but at least there's a beer cart. And yes, we do have the PrizePicks entry for this week. And Harris English is one of mine. I finally figured out how golf works. It is a couple different ways, but this particular style is just over/under their first round score. So I took Morikawa under 68.5, which is to say 3 under or better. And then English is set at 69.5. Which means we only need 2 under or better for the first round. So this pays out 3-1, and of course you can use our promo code BETSPERTS to sign up for PrizePicks, and we'll get back to golf. That was the turn. I didn't actually buy a beer. No one was manning the cart, but my down the board as I tee off on the 10th, the back is Johnny Vegas. Oh man, this guy is kind of my Achilles lately. I've bet him a lot. Probably too much lately. Is a lot of these holes too. I didn't play this course completely. I just checked it out to make sure I wasn't playing the wrong course. But a lot of these holes are these tweeners where you can't use your driver because you just go in the water. Right. So you have to like lay up with a 3. And that drives me nuts because I love taking out the big stick and just trying to whack it as far as possible. It's kind of bothering me a little. Anyway, the Munoz. He's better off the tee. You've talked about that. I like bombers here. I'm fine with bombers here. Even though I just said some of these holes aren't going to be conducive to it, there are plenty that are going to be. He's a better ball striker in general. And, he struggles to putt. I've put that down a couple times. I've watched him at the 3M miss 2 makeable eagle putts to get into that playoff. That was annoying. He does struggle in the short game, not only putting, but just short game in general, like around the green as well. So I'm a little nervous about that, but Munoz is a guy who just does not excel in any of those things as far as the metrics I'm looking at for this course fit, and minus 125, kind of a no-brainer for a guy I'm looking to back here. So Jonathan with the H in the wrong spot, Vegas, I think he's a Venezuelan, over Mr. Munoz at minus 125. Look at that. You can see the city in the background. Like, whoever built this on the game even put the skyline in there. All right, the cut is back. We didn't have cuts for the Olympics. We're not going to have cuts the next 2 weeks, I think. But there will be a cut line this week. 65 in ties.
I like to fade Sergio Garcia, so here's my last opportunity to fade Sergio Garcia. For him to miss the cut at plus 170, he is a really good ball striker. He can strike the ball really well, but he can't worth for nothing. He cannot putt for nothing. He misses everything. He's in the red every single tournament that he plays when it comes to putting. So if I'm going to be fading a player, it's going to be somebody who struggles not only on bent and grass greens, but in putting in general. This is a course where you need to avoid some of those three putts, and that is not Sergio. On bent grass surfaces, he has either finished in the top 25 or missed the cut 4 times. He's a very volatile player, so if you're getting plus money on somebody like him, time to take a crack at it.
Yeah, I wonder too about some of these guys who aren't within the range to get to next week, if they have to really go for it, because the points aren't quadrupled. Like, if you play really, really well, you can move up the leaderboard pretty quickly. And you do get a lot of FedEx points for doing well here. I'm not sure if there might be, I said some of these are tweener holes. If it's getting late, and Cinderella and all that, you might have to, I'm going to go for this. And we've seen Sergio mess that up before. So I don't remember who I went with. Mickelson makes the cut. I couldn't find anything I liked. I really, really struggled with this one. This is like a split fairway. I'm not even sure what to do here. This is a goofy ass hole. I like this one a lot.
Did you say Mickelson makes the cut?
Makes the cut. And this is going to be a small bet. I'm not super jacked, but I did follow along today with him and old Buckethead, Joel Dahman. They played They played some, I don't know, it wasn't Skins game. They played match play versus Harry Higgs and Keith Mitchell. And my guy Mickelson, he won 3-1. And they were behind. It was a
Oh.
comeback. I don't know how much I can put on him. Some of it was probably Joel Dahman. Joel Dahman can play. But yeah, this is strictly based on how his cash game is looking, and Mickelson loves money too. Like if he's gonna make the cut one last time here and make a little cash to play some cash games in the off season, and it was -110, I'm fine. Somebody in the chat says there are 96 bunkers. Yeah, there's quite. I haven't even found one yet. I've been pretty lucky that far, but yeah, a lot of bunkers, a lot of water. You can find yourself into some trouble here in a hurry. As I missed. Oh, my putts are not falling on the back nine. This is troublesome, but yeah, Mickelson makes the cut. This is kind of I can call this a pancake bet because this is a little bit out there, and I'm playing it pretty small. Oh, Cam again. All right, nationalities are back. We got them eventually last week. Like, it just were up really, really late. We didn't have them in time for the show. We ended up having to do something weird. I did forget to mention that because you brought up Xander. That was my nationality for the Olympics, was just any American wins. So that actually felt nice to be able to cheer for that. But we do have nationalities back, and you have more lumping on this guy.
I'm going to take top Australian. So if I'm taking a long shot on Cam Smith to win, then I like him to do well in a group of 6 players. He is the second favorite for top Australian at plus 220. The favorite is Adam Scott, and Adam Scott is actually somebody that I'm fading for against Harris English in a matchup. So if I'm fading Adam Scott entirely, then I like Cam Smith to come out here. I don't know. There's not really much logic behind this. It's really Jason Day. He's somebody who has missed the cut. I don't know how many times on bent grass greens. Cam Davis. He is somebody that could possibly contend. Mark Leachman, and then you have Matt Jones. But I like Cam. I like Cam Smith. He is the best putter of this bunch. I'll take the short game player in a group of 6.
Yeah, for sure. I like Cam Smith here. Yeah, the Adam Scott thing I'm fine with. I don't know what to make of Smith. A couple of these Aussies I don't fully understand, but it sounds like it's just kind of a numbers play for you. Getting plus 220 on this guy to end up top Aussie, not a bad look, especially if you like him to win. I ended up with, as I just followed up a bogey with an eagle. There we go. Back on track. Matsuyama. 200.
Oh.
I don't know. A lot of this is maybe off the backs of these Korean players getting a little more respect. And they are getting more respect, not only from the public and just the limelight that they saw with the Olympic storylines, but also they've been playing better and they're getting a little more respect in the betting market. So getting Matsuyama in a smaller field, I think there's only 6 Asians, I believe, in this field. So getting him in a smaller field at 2-1 is pretty good. I've looked at these markets for years, and there were times, especially when he was on top, really on top of his game, where he'd get some really shitty numbers on him to be top Asian. So 2-1 on top Asian feels pretty good. And yes, this is Masters champion Hideki Matsuyama. He can play well. I don't think it's like he's out of form. I think he's a guy who can definitely step up in a big event like this. So 2-1 on him, and we're on to the 16th. Or the 15th. Oh,
Hole
man,
in one.
Hole in one. We said no. Did you look much at these par 3s?
They're pretty far. They're pretty long. It's about 200 yards for multiple of them. So it's going to be tougher. It should be tougher. Yes, this is the best field. And there's so many players who are absolutely capable of making a hole in one. But it just seems that always go with the no when the holes are definitely longer.
Yeah, I want to say it was the 9th, 8th, 12th, and easiest holes, like middle of the pack, and then one was like the second hardest hole on the course. And the easiest par 3 played at like a 2.92 average. Like some of these, are very, very birdieable. Even the easy one is playing pretty close to par. And a couple of them are pretty tough. A couple of them are pretty long. So as I'm driving this is a par 4. I'm driving the green with this one. This is where our bombers come in. I'm only hitting my driver at like 88%. And we're going to end up probably in the grandstand if this bounces hard. Ooh, that was right by the hole. There we go. So yeah, -165. I hate laying it, especially after, I think we had multiple hole-in-ones last week, which sucks. And if you do look back at the history of this event, someone had multiple hole-in-ones by themselves like 5 years
Oh
ago.
wow.
Not at this course. It was I double checked that. I'm like, where did they play at 2015? Different course in New Jersey, but yes, there have been hole in ones at this event, but I don't think of this course. So I'm on it minus 165 for the no, and we're closing her out with some wild cards. Oh, this guy's a wild card to begin with. His stupid visor.
I'm gonna go with Ian Poulter, top 20 at plus 250. I almost put him in the top 10 at plus 600, but I will be more safe and do a top 20 instead because you are getting plus 250 odds. But I like Ian Poulter, and surprisingly, because he's also another player like Cam Smith who's not known for his iron play. He's not known for his off the tee, but he is one hell of a putter. And if I like Cam Smith, Ian Poulter putts better than Cam Smith on bent grass surfaces, well, in general, and on bent grass surfaces. And he's top four for strokes gained putting, and he's actually, I think, my other long shot that I wanted to take was first round leader because he's top four for first round scoring, and he is top four for putting. I don't know. I feel like it's in the cards here, and he does really well here at on bent grass surfaces. Bent grass, he's actually the best player on bent grass, so maybe a little sprinkle money on him at a bajillion odds to be a first round leader as well.
Yeah, I like that. I played one last week at two. I mean, it was never even close, but those first round leader ones are fun. I'm honestly, I'm going to. You better bet that because I'm going to bet it now, and you're going to feel bad when it hits. Poulter has had some absolute. I don't even want to call him outlier because it's not like, oh my god, he's putting good and that's weird. He can do that. He's had a couple. It was like a round, late tournament. It was a Sunday and he was behind. Wasn't really in contention, but all of a sudden he starts draining all these 30 footers and ends up like top fiving, backdooring a top five because he played so well. He can do that. He can absolutely get his putter rolling, and yeah, I like that quite a bit. I got ahead of myself. I'm already on the 18th green here, but I played some three ball because like I said, I went with a 200 to 1 last week for the wild card, and that didn't even come close. So playing it a lot safer this week was Brian Stewart, which may be the only guy I cashed last week, honestly. I didn't have much luck with anything last week. Brian Stewart, top 20 cash for me. I'm playing him in three ball over Peter Malnati and Mr. Griffin. Well, I can't think of his first name. He's got a goofy first name. Oh, whatever. Griffin something. Either way, plus 185. I kind of throw Malnati out of the equation. I don't rank him very high in anything. He's an afterthought here, but I'm getting the more accurate driver between Stewart and Griffin, the better putter, and the fellow with the most greens in regulation out of this threesome, Lanto. I knew it was something goofy. Why couldn't I think of Lanto? That was always a joke with me and Frank if it was Lanto or Lanto.
Lando.
We've heard announcers say Lanto, which I don't think is
I
right.
say Lando.
I say Lanto sometimes, and I say Lanto other times. I don't know. I'm gonna actually have to call. That's why I like Matt Neesmith. His Twitter handle is KNEE Smith. Like his Twitter handle explains
Me.
the phonetics of his name. Everybody should be doing that who has a tough. Somebody Lentil Griffin. I did have lentils for lunch, so maybe that's the case. But yeah, Stewart over Malnati and Lanto Griffin three ball plus 185. And my God, that putt was never. Oh, it lipped out. That's not a great way to end it. Only 10 under. Did set the course record, but needed some luckiness. Needed a hole in one. Needed an eagle on a four. Needed another pretty nice eagle on a five. Had a bogey in there. Uneven round, although Big John won. Our guy. Servbot down in Cincinnati getting it done as tennis is happening. And then, yeah, somebody in the chat does say, who does Pam have winning the Western and Southern? We need a pick. Did you do outrights on it at all? Or you can adjust now. We're halfway through.
It is really hard to pick a winner in this one. I mean, if anything, if the courts were playing faster like they should, like they typically do, like a Cincinnati tournament does, then I would pick Zverev. But it's been raining a lot, and it has slowed the court speed drastically. So it's kind of up in the air right now, honestly.
Yeah, the courts, there's a lot of arguments on Twitter about if the courts are just like normal or if they're like super slow. And I haven't seen
I
enough
think they're
tennis. I don't
slow.
know. Isn't there one? They can't be that slow.
Well, he's struggled a bit. He just won in 3 sets.
Yeah,
And
it is a
Opelka's going
struggle.
to a
Although,
tiebreak. And that's another thing also is you have all of the big servers from last week who ran deep in that tournament are now in this tournament again. And it's just that quick turnaround for these big servers hasn't happened. And so it's just kind of a different dynamic than what we're seeing.
yeah, Riley going right now as well. He's up a set on Quarantine Mute, the Frenchman. Yeah, there are a lot of. I think Kevin Anderson was in this one too. All the big serve bots are here. Where's the Mad Doctor? I think he might have retired at this point. But yeah, back to golf. Real quick recap. Hideki and oh my god, never mind. I have last week's recap up here anyway. I can spin through it on the bottom. Look at that, I screwed it all up. Pete Sampras not playing. You went with John Rahm. I went with Cantlay. We had Cam Smith and Charlie Hoffman top 20 at 5-1 for long shots. Schauffele over DeChambeau in the battle of beautiful last names. Reed over Simpson as an underdog. English over Scott, my guy Harry English. And Vegas over Munoz for me. Garcia to miss the cut. Phil to make it with his special coffee. Top Aussie, Cam Smith at 220. Top Asian, Matsuyama at 2-1. Missing no hole in ones. Cross my fingers on that one. Ian Poulter top 20 for your wild card, and I had Brian Stewart, big hero Brian Stewart over Malnati and Griffin in the 3-ball, and that'll do it. And there's the beer carts back if you want to play that too. I have English Morikawa PrizePicks entry. Thank you, Pam, for talking golf and tennis with me today. Thanks for hanging out in the chat, especially Drew. He says Nori choked, which, I mean, I can see that. I might have to go back and actually watch part of that match. Watch some tennis tonight if it's on at this point in the night. That's kind of fun. We're on to tennis and baseball.
You're on the money line, so I'm happy.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah, good win for Pam there, and good luck to all you guys this week. And we'll catch you next week.
Good luck with your bets.